defense line. Then they have scored more than every other team. They have scored 28 goals. So I think it's a team that should be taken more seriously as from the second stanza, because they have a player, Godin Obaje, who is doing so well, very consistent. Last season, he almost made the champion, but he went on a misadventure in Europe. I think trying to join a club in Slovakia, came back and started, continue from where he stopped. It's a goal poacher that is doing so well for his club. So I think Wiki should be taken more seriously.
And the Imba have a decent chance, like you said,
yeah,
if they win a game in hand. But a game in hand is a game in hand until you win it.
Absolutely. When you are even playing Abia Warriors at home, anything is possible.
In a derby.
In a derby.
Form doesn't really matter.
In fact, when they were in Aba, some seasons ago, Abia Warriors came there and inflicted a 1-0 defeat on them. So it's a game that can go either way. Owned by the same government, Abia State government. Players know themselves. Players always crisscross between the two clubs. So there's so much to play for. And for Enyimba, they will want to get a victory so that they want to dominate going for the second stanza. Abia Warriors too have been very decent, especially at away. But towards the end of the first stanza, they lost to Sunshine Stars at home, and that really dented their hopes.
Let's talk about these three teams that feature prominently at the bottom: Plateau United, Shooting Stars,
and Ikorodu
United. After 19 matches, which of these teams do you see? Because usually if you are in this position after 19 matches, you rarely get out.
Yeah, very difficult.
Which one of them do you see probably escaping and dragging? Which other teams can be dragged in? And which of the three teams can escape?
It's
tough.
Very, very tough. You see, for Ikorodu United, out of 18 matches, they have won 3. I think it's woeful, absolutely woeful. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to start recruiting. They need to fortify, especially their goal scoring issue, and defensively, they've been poor. I think they have some decent players.
11 losses?
Yes. 11 losses and
scored 13 goals. It's not really looking
and
good.
minus 8 goals, minus 18 goals difference. To leave the relegation waters, that zone, you must have to start scoring. So
they actually have 13 points from all of.
Yes, you have to start scoring to reduce your deficits, and they need to start hitting the ground running as soon as the second stanza begins.
But you're not bold enough to predict any of these three teams escaping.
Yeah, I don't know what Miracle Ikorodu United will do. They are likely, they are favorites for relegation. Then for Shooting Stars and Plateau United, what happened to them? The coach left. They was asked to step aside, and they did not be able to get a substantive. But I read that they are trying to get Judah Neke, the first player in the Nigerian Premier League to score 20 goals, to hit the 20 goals mark, and Kabiru Mar. If they're able to get, because they've identified that goal scoring problems, really was their undoing in the last
so they can solve that.
So if they can solve that and get goals, then they could be on their way out of relegation. But Shooting Stars, they have a big chance. They are, traditional team. If Ogubot eventually arrives and is able to
government can pay them some attention,
and government can. We learned that a businessman is trying to make inroads in terms of financing the club. If money comes, then there could be some light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, let's leave it at that for now. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll still be talking about things happening on the domestic scene, especially how everything looks now in the Nigeria Professional Football League. So we'll go on that break. So join us again for more on Sports Tonight. Welcome back. All right, let's move on the show and talk about things happening on the domestic scene. Well, the chairman of the league management company, Shehu Diko, joins us now as we take a look, do a review of what has gone down in the first stanza of the Nigeria Professional Football League. So it's good to have you, Shehu Diko. How has it been? I want to get your assessment of what has happened so far in the Nigeria Professional Football League, the first stanza of the league. Okay, well, good evening. If you can hear me, my question to you is...
I can hear you.
Okay. Nice to have you join us on the show tonight. Well, I was about asking you your assessment of the first stanza of the 2015-2016 season.
Well, I guess so far so good. I think we have practically achieved all that we set to achieve. You know, we have our objectives at the beginning of the season. And basically, if you look at the statistics, you look at all the things we have done, we are basically where we wanted to be. If you look at what happened last season at the halfway round, and look at what's happening now, is basically we have surpassed almost all the indices of what we did last season. So I think so far so good, I guess. We are happy.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this before we go to other issues relating to the league. The LMC recently engaged the FIFA transfer matching system. So the question is, what impact will this have on the league?
Well, the impact is not really on the league, it's just the entire Nigerian football structure. The Nigerian Football Federation and the LMC came to say that we have to really enhance our transfer system. If you look at now, all transfers that are going abroad, it must go through the TMS, which is making it very easy. There's no need for any documentation. Everything is done. Nobody is traveling to go and deliver paper to any office. And everything is very, very transparent. So that's basically now what we are trying to secure in Nigeria.
Okay, let's talk about player welfare before we go to other. Okay, we'll see if we can work with that and get the connection. Let's if we can sort it out. But doing which, let's go on with the show. Hopefully, we'll be able to link with Shehu Diko and continue with our conversation on the Nigeria Professional Football League. But maybe a quick response to some of the things you heard him say, especially the transfer matching system. How he says it's not just going to benefit the league; it's going to benefit the whole structure of Nigerian football.
Yeah, I think the transfer issue in this country is a shame, you know. So it needs a lot of restructuring.
And overhaul.
Yeah, a lot of reorganization. The things that appear so simple elsewhere becomes complicated here, and it's because of the system loopholes that that has been exploited by some stakeholders, especially the agents of some of these players going abroad. But even within the country, in the domestic league, sometimes you see some clubs fighting over transfer issues. It's very simple. If you want a player, you discuss. Yes, if you have the consent of the player, then you discuss with the club. Then the club will now invite the player. They will discuss. They agree on terms, the money for the player, and the financial terms that they will be accrued to the clubs. And you know, these things are sorted out in black and white. But sometimes you just players elope, they go to other clubs, and it has a way of dragging the league to the mud, into disrepute. So I want to agree with Shehu Diko that it needs a lot of restructuring and reorganization. Players should be enlightened. The clubs too should be enlightened. We have seen some clubs, you know, there was a time in Shooting Stars we learned that so many players were on loan. You know, players are sold, and the clubs pay them. Who paid them did not get anything in return. So I think it's bad business. If it continues like this, the stakeholders will have a lot to lose. Okay.
All right. I'm told that Shehu Diko is back online, and so we can continue with our conversation. The league management chairman. Okay. Let's continue with our conversation now. You were talking about the impact of the transfer matching system.
Yeah. You know, as I told you, the entire team, make it very straightforward, very transparent, and very easy. And then, you know, once a club is in the system and they put on their player, they will be able to, once the player transfer abroad, they'll be record of the player, and they'll be able to receive their compensation. And all the transfer system will be very transparent and open, because all the documents and all the financials will be up there in the system. So everybody will.
Okay. I guess that's how we have to just end the discussion. Hopefully next time we'll be able to do this with the league management chairman, Shehu Diko. But he has been able to shed light